Greetings to the brilliant, brilliant agents on the Gulf Coast of Florida. It's Coach Hudson here, and I wanted to talk to you about something briefly today. I wanted to talk to you about assumptions and uneducated decisions, as we're all human. And I know that I've missed out on a lot of opportunities over the years because I've made uneducated decisions or I've gone off assumptions. And I have to imagine that there's probably a lot of people who are just like me and who may have a habit of doing that, maybe not even knowing or not being conscious of it. And so I want to share a story with you because I think it's a good example of this. And so you all are in the real estate industry. And so most of you probably do realize that 75% of the wealthy people in our country and in the world are wealthy because they own real estate. So we're in the real estate field, of course, so we have the keys to wealth, which is amazing. And so it would make sense that most real estate agents were real estate investors. And yet you probably know most aren't. A lot of you probably aren't. Some of you are. Bravo to those of you that are. And I was one of the people. I put it off for such a long time. I knew it was the right direction to go. And yet I had other better ways to spend my money. They weren't better. And then just a lot of fear and unanswered questions around it. And so there was a few years ago that I made a conscious decision. I was like, this is the year. And so I saved and I planned and I had everything there. And then some changes happened. And I took a leadership position with the company. And it was about an hour away from my home, which is not the craziest thing ever. And yet at the time I had 5 children, now 6. And 2 hours in the car every day I was not going to do it. It was not going to work for me. And so we chose to move as a family, and it was a rather expensive move. And so the end result in my brain was like, okay, well, we can't buy the investment this year. It's just not going to work. We just had to do all this. It's not going to work. Now, we didn't spend every dollar we had. We had some money that I had set aside that was still set aside. And so I did what I thought was smart. Instead of like asking questions or looking for opportunity anyways, I chose to put it in the stock market. Not the worst choice ever. I mean, it's been up and down and it's worth slightly more than what it was a few years ago. It's all right. Now, the next year came and I was most of the way through the year and I almost didn't do it again. And I had that moment. I was like, no, it's time. And I did. I started asking around. I had a certain budget. It wasn't a great budget, or in my head, it wasn't a great budget. Where can I go buy this? And I got some information and I bought my first investment property. Now, my down payment and closing cost, all of the things together, was significantly less than the amount of money that I had put in the stock market the year prior. So I could have bought my first investment property the year before. And that first investment property, with a very minimal investment initially, cash flowed and continues to cash flow $750 a month. So I missed out on that. Now, at the end of the day, that's not going to, it's okay. And it makes me think, what other times in my life have I missed out because rather than slowing down and asking questions and educating myself, I just was like, nope, not the time. Nope, doesn't work. Nope, not for me. And I know that there's a lot of them. And I know that Bold was one of them. I know that for the Bold came out in 2009, and I've been with KW since 2006. I avoided it like the plague. I knew it wasn't for me, and I knew it was too rah-rah, and I knew that I didn't need it, and I knew that I knew what to do, and I just all of the excuses that I had heard, I took on, and I decided I didn't need it. And then when I finally stepped into a Bold for the first time, it was out of desperation because it was in a year that I had sold 0 houses. And I was out of money. And so I took the course, and of course it changed my life. I went from a year of almost literally no income to 5 years later being a 7-figure earner because I made a different decision, because I didn't go off of my assumptions any longer. And so why am I telling you all this? A, because it's a good lesson period to never really go off assumptions and to make sure that we are always educated in our decisions. I want to invite you to make an educated decision about Bold. If you are not signed up for full Bold, whether you came to First Step or not, I have no judgment. I do know that we're in a crazy market that's going to get crazier. I know that you've been through a really insane time with this hurricane. I'm just up in Tampa. I get it. I want to invite you to have the opportunity to make an educated decision, right? To not go off assumptions. And so we have step 2 of Bold this Friday. And I'd like to invite you there. And so you can come for free We start at 9 a.m. and you can join us up until lunchtime, which is somewhere between 12 and 12:30. And at that time, you'll have the opportunity to make a decision, and it will be an educated one, not based off any assumptions, right? You'll be able to decide, hey, I'm glad I came, and that's my promise to you. Whether you join us or not, you will be glad you came. I will give you value that you can take out into your business and continue to earn from. Or some of you will make the decision that, you know what, I should probably be here. And then we'll have a seat for you and we'll welcome you to sign up with us and continue on the rest of the journey. And yet that is my loving challenge to you is why not come join us for just a few hours so that you know whether or not you should be in that room or not. So I trust that many of you will decide to go ahead and make that educated decision and no longer miss things because you made a decision in your head based off facts that were in your head, right? So join us. All you need to do is reply yes to this email. We'll make sure that we've got a seat for you and that we'll welcome you, and then you'll make your decision at lunch, and I'll have no judgment on whatever decision you make. It'll be the right one for you. Have a beautiful day, and any questions, let us know.